In the 80s, even trash had integrity. The 1980s were a glorious time for exploitation. The period was a culmination of the permissiveness of the late 60s, coupled with the artistic freedom expressed by the filmmakers of the 1970s. The time was ripe for exploitation cinema, with some movies actually getting decent budgets considering their gratuitous themes or scenarios that challenged societal norms. The boundary-pushing material wasn't limited to Roger Corman or indie and underground auteurs. Some of these films actually launched the careers of some prominent actors and filmmakers. Not only was there a growing openness to talk about sex, so different from today where it actually feels like we're entering into another puritanical ice age.
Lust is the beast within you!
But the films, these three in particular, actually addressed social issues in nuanced, grounded ways. 3 movies that actually dealt with something. 3 raunchy comedies that actually dealt with something more serious than anything talked about in current pop cinema today. All 3 are available on Blu-ray, by the way. Now, I do have to say,
earmuffs.
Spoilers, some of these important moments will reveal plot points, and in one case, the ending.
It's casual.
So be forewarned, spoilers ahead.
Okay, I'm ready.
Number 1, the 1981 film Porky's, written and directed by Bob Clark, deals with bigotry in general and anti-Semitism in particular. Clark, best known for his holiday cheer directing A Christmas Story, Black Christmas, and a little-known zombie film 1972's Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things. Porky's is an unapologetically raunchy comedy about sex, titillation, raging hormones, and male genital anxiety.
It is. It's getting shorter.
This movie is full of pranks. I don't think another film exists with a higher prank count. Did high school kids really trick each other this much in the 1950s? If so, there may be a scientific connection between sexual repression and the desire to pull pranks.
Hello! Hi!
The advertising campaign for this film made it seem like the entire movie was about these guys trying to sneak a peek in the girl's shower.
Full metal bush, bro.
Although there's a lot more going on, it does sum up the vibe quite nicely.
I'm trying to capture the spirit of the thing, Reg.
Oh, you did?
I just rewatched this and I can't believe how simple the story is. We follow Pee-wee and an ensemble cast of his high school chums as they pull pranks and obsess over getting laid. One suggests they go to Porky's, a nightclub out in the swamp where, if they play their cards right, could hire the services of some of the dancers
to get some dirty, damp, and deep.
The owner, Porky, pranks them, taking their money and humiliating them in front of his clientele. They then vow revenge on Porky and ultimately, earmuffs, destroy his business. For some reason, embedded in this lowbrow, testosterone-fueled, raunchy comedy that's also a surprisingly well-produced period piece of the 1950s is this story arc of a bigot raised by an abusive father who, when confronted with the futility of his prejudice, sees the errors of his ways and takes on a whole new outlook. Praise be to Cecil B. DeMille, the Lumiere brothers, and the power of cinema.
Have you made your decision for Christ?
I mean, isn't this the holy grail in story, in life? The belief that we can change? The whole point of our correctional system? I mean, we in the US don't do rehabilitation as well as other countries do, but then again, we don't make it the priority they do. But I digress. Change doesn't come easy. As they say, you have to want to change. And it takes effort. You have to look in the mirror, dig down deep, and do the hard work that it takes. Am I right? Anyway, it always blew me away that this movie, whose seemingly sole reason for existing, sex-related hijinks, would bother to take the time to present a bigot's redemption story, and how many of the people today who claim to hate racism would appreciate this. I bet most would condemn this film and its cast for talking to the character in question, when, if you listen to Daryl Davis, a guy with real-life experience with converting racists, then you know that the cold-shoulder, finger-wagging approach doesn't work.
You are too stupid to understand and follow simple rudimentary instructions. Too stupid to...
But this movie did simply more than say racism bad. It showed how it was learned and had the compassionate insight to show how people can change. These issues are more complicated than bumper sticker slogans can fix. I was shocked, impressed that this sex adventure with a pulse also had a heart. Number 2, The Wildlife, deals with PTSD. 1984's The Wildlife is probably the most legitimate of the 3 movies profiled, as its production lineage connects with Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which was backed by a major studio, Universal. With Wildlife writer Cameron Crowe and director Art Linson both having worked on Fast Times. Cameron Crowe on the script and Linson as a producer, although Wildlife is more of a black sheep than proud parent. Don't get me wrong, it's a great movie dealing with the trials and tribulations of relationships, starting high school, leaving the nest and hanging out with the local junkie. Hey, we all need mentors.
You're goddamn right.
And Wildlife's got Hart Bochner, the douche from Die Hard.
Everybody's a comedian.
but it never got nearly the recognition, had the same cultural impact, or tasted the same kind of success that Fast Times did.
Have a maple bar, brother. They're fresh.
Originally a sequel to Fast Times at Ridgemont High, with all the attendant raunch, humor, and wacky hijinks that entertained a junior high schooler like me. And like Fast Times with its dramatic emotional core of Jennifer Jason Leigh getting an abortion, this film took a different tack and critiqued the growing American military jingoism of the time, or at least the adolescent view of war in general, and being in the military in particular. Like Fast Times, we follow an ensemble cast of characters led by Jim, his brother's girlfriend, her best pal, her boyfriend, his wrestling team, and a million other characters.
It's casual.
As they negotiate working menial jobs, dealing with difficult people, and the nuances of the entertainment industry.
This is a league, man. How many times do I have to tell you, league people don't wait?
And please excuse the low resolution for this one, it's a hard film to find. You can watch it for free on the Internet Archive, link in the description. However, it has the resolution of a late VHS transfer. Currently waiting on my Blu-ray in the mail. The emotional core here presents itself in the form of Charlie, played by Randy Quaid, giving possibly his crown jewel performance in an otherwise up-and-down career.
Oh, nothing but the best.
Charlie is a Vietnam War vet whom Jim looks up to. At one point, Jim revels in the retelling of the Battle of Khe Sanh, which Charlie fought in. Charlie then calls out Jim, telling him he never wants to go back, and admonishing him to be careful, otherwise he'll find himself
In a world of shit.
And you won't be watching Hueys and going bitching.
It was a tough, dramatic moment, a character being put in his place by his hero. And that's what being a young person often is, getting hard truths from our elders. I was Jim. I loved those movies and studied the wars they were about. I had family that was in World War II and Vietnam. I was infatuated with the idea of being armed and the thrill of the challenge, imagining what it would be like under those conditions. And how would I react? Which stems from a natural urge to defend one's loved ones. Now that urge can be manipulated into warmongering, I admit, but even as a kid I never wanted war. But I often fantasized about being in one and what I would do to help win it, which would probably be to get out of the way of the better, more competent soldiers.
Yeah, this is good. Shaolin Scorpion.
Before the last one on my list, here's a quick appeal to the viewer, to you, from one human to another. My YouTube feed is inundated with AI slop. And before the whole thing becomes AI viewers subscribing to AI channels, please throw a fellow blood and guts human a bone and hit subscribe. Thank you from a real beating heart susceptible to actual heart disease. And last but not least, 1982's The Last American Virgin, directed by Israeli filmmaker Boaz Davidson. This is the devastation that launched a film career, as supposedly this is based on the real-life heartbreak of the director. Interesting, this was a remake of his 1978 film Lemon Popsicle, which had been the highest-grossing picture in Israel for a long time, spawning like 7 sequels. This film tells relationship truths, what most love stories won't tell you about real-life love. Anyone who's ever stood by someone you pined for, carried them through their darkest hours, been that solid rock of a shoulder for them to cry on, and then been dumped on the slag heap of romantic dreams, this one's for you. This one goes out to all those second fiddles with a heart of gold, who put in the work yet regardless have been mercilessly friend-zoned. Ugh. And if you didn't know life can be that way, maybe you need to grab a notebook, sit down, and watch this raunchy comedy that's also packing one hell of a life lesson. That romantic love can kick your face in.
And always watch the horizon, okay?
This is the story of pizza delivery guy Gary, his 2 friends Cool Guy Rick and comic relief David, and the girl of his dreams Karen, played by Diane Franklin. Again, the plot is thinner than a New York pizza slice. High schoolers trying to get laid. Their whole life revolves around it. Ah, those were the days. The blind, irrational, hormone-fueled days of being a teenager.
I'm a teenage lobotomy.
She ain't the only one.
But then Gary sees and falls head over heels for Karen. But she likes Rick. But he likes someone else.
Love stinks.
You just can't win. Now there's a fine line between love and obsession, and maybe a finer line between that and Manson lamps. Let's ease back a bit there, Gary. You're making the actress nervous.
Don't give me your fucking Manson lamps.
Now, cool guy Rick gets Karen pregnant, and then breaks up with her in the school library.
You stay classy, San Diego.
Gary takes it upon himself to help her get an abortion. They stay at his grandmother's empty apartment and have the procedure done over the holiday weekend when all of their friends are away on a ski trip. Karen thanks Gary for his help. He locks onto her with his stalker high beams, professes his love for her, and they kiss. Fast forward to her birthday party for the earmuffs. Spoiler, ending, denouement, reason why this movie matters and is on my list, scene where our hero Gary, bursting with love for his Karen, finds her locking lips with cool guy Rick, showing that the cool guy
Always win, even in the 80s.
It's almost two different movies going on here. One where raunchy, unconnected sexcapades punctuate the story. Heck, for half the film, they are the story, as we go from one to the next. And the other film here is a drama of love, loss, and betrayal. And it cannot be overstated. Nothing in the previous 90 minutes of runtime prepares you for the gut punch of that final scene. Other than Gary's moping and pining for Karen and his Manson lamps, the tone or vibes are very upbeat. We're laughing, joking, rollicking with high schoolers whose major worries are getting pizzas delivered on time, finding rides to the latest party, and can we pass Sweet and Low off as Blow? It's lighthearted, low-budget hijinks, but carried out with a sincerity and an honesty, an earnestness. It's a film made by somebody who understands teenagers, and also understands that being a teenager isn't just these hijinks and just being obsessed with sex, but it's also moments that are devastating. You get older and you get a little more perspective and understand that that kind of love, that kind of loss isn't the end of the world, but in the moment it feels it, and this film conveys it.
And that's church, yo.
So there you have it, Your Honor. Exhibit A, B, and C for the case of 80s trash having integrity.
What an info.
Am I missing any prime examples? Let me know down below. Otherwise, thanks for clicking in, and have a happy new year.
Greetings from the Humongous.
Thank you all for subscribing.
Nothing can escape. The Humongous rules the wasteland.